So, what's the most insidious variant cover scheme that's come down the pipe? Well, let's think about that. Memory lane, here we come, folks. Hey, this is Perch, and I don't know if you noticed with the I'm trying a little bit something different with microphone. It's barely noticeable, but a little bit better. I'm inching my way close to that nice, good melodic voice, so people can actually hear the amazing made for radio voice that actually I don't know what I'm saying right now. Anyway, the audio quality is getting better. So variant comics, um, there's been a lot of different variant schemes, and I think let's see in 20 seconds. What are variant comics? Variant comics are variant covers is really more accurate. It's where a comic comes out with a main cover, and then there's a more limited edition variant cover intended to appeal to collectors who want to buy the more expensive variant covers. A lot of retailers don't like them because you have to often order more issues than you would normally want to carry or sell in your store to get the variant cover. And it's a good way to wind up with a lot of issues in your quarter bin in the shop that you do not want. So that's why people don't like them at the store level. A lot of collectors are they're happy, and if you're happy, I'm happy. What can I say? But over the years, there's been different variant schemes, and some of them are more insidious than others. Some of them are really designed to make life very difficult for the retailer. Because remember, so I heard this comparison once. It's like, hey, if you go to, your Walmart, your Target, and if you go down the old toy aisle, there's a real popularity right now in something called LOL dolls or LOL. Maybe I'm showing my age here. I think it's LOL dolls. Anyway, it's a thing, and basically there's like a little bubble, and inside of it is a mystery toy. And when you open up the bubble, you get the mystery toy. And then these have kind of grown where you can kind of hatch an egg and get a mystery toy. They're not all LOL. Oh, it's LOL Surprise. How could I forget? LOL Surprise. Thank you. Pop culture just caught up with me. LOL Surprise, and there's Hatchimals, and there's a ton of them. And Disney is starting to trot out their version of it, which means that it's the fad is almost at an end. But basically, it's a surprise toy. When you open it up, you get to find out what it is. And this is really kind of it's an old idea. It's like trading cards. You open up the pack and you see what you get, and you discover that you've got, the same Aaron Rodgers card for the 50th time, and so you need to, keep buying those packs of cards until you finally get the one you want, till you complete the set. So they migrate. This is similar idea with comics, except with comics, there wasn't really the ability to have a surprise cover. More on that in a second. But comics were what you get. The collector aspect of it were people wanting to buy an entire run. So if people didn't like the run, they stopped buying. And so there's been this: how do we hook people to get the trading card, surprise toy kind of phenomenon in comics? And variant covers were one way to do that. It was a way to kind of get attached sales onto an existing comic. It was a way to give throw the collectors a bone as the collector's market started to dry up. And it was a way to thoroughly irritate comic shop owners, because secretly the big two publishers hate comic stores. They hate them. They just, the people they smelly. They don't like them. They secretly want them all to die. So they created this. They're sitting around the table one day, and Axel Alonso is talking to Tom Brevoort and Yoshida Hashiro, and and they're going, "What can we do to really piss off fans?" And Joe Quesada came in and was like, "I know, let's do this thing where the fans will pay us more money to get a crazy cover, and the comic stores will hate it because we'll make them buy extra comics to get the crazy cover that their whale customers will really want, so they'll be forced to buy it even though they'll lose money because they don't want to lose their whale customers." And Axel Alonso jumped out of his chair and said, "That's genius! That's genius! And we're going to get diverse artists to do it." And Akira said, I am taking photos of my food. I cannot talk right now. And Tom Brevoort just kind of cackled maniacally, and that's how the whole variant cover scheme idea was born. That's there. There's may not be a lot of truth in what I just said. Anyway, so the variant covers have often what it is they had one variant cover and they're like, hey, why stop with one? Let's have two variant covers. And then came in Tom Brevoort and he said, let's have 100 variant covers. And that actually that story may be a little bit more truthful, but so the variant covers often were, there's a couple different ways to get them. It was either kind of, for every 10 copies of a comic ordered, we'll give you this 11th. Well, we won't give you. You'll buy 11 copies of this comic, and the 11th copy will be a variant cover. Or you buy 25, or you buy 1,000 copies, and you get one variant cover. Those are the super rare ones. Those are the hologram Pokemon cards in the pack. Or kind of a more goofy. So that's like the basics, and that by itself is evil enough. But then you get the variant cover scheme of, okay, so you're going to need to buy copies of Daredevil 15 in order to qualify for getting the variant copies of Venom. And so this was a way that somebody's genius idea of let's get retailers to buy copies of comics they don't want of a lower selling comic in order to qualify for this other comic over here that people do want, and let's do it that way. So that was pretty evil. And then there was briefly kind of people flirted with the idea, and this isn't really a variant cover, but the idea of let's bag the whole comic in a you can't see what's inside of a bag, and then we'll make the covers different inside. So that was really the trading card scheme approach right there. And then there was another one, which was the we'll kind of send random variants to the store, and it'll be like the golden ticket mentality of the variant cover will be secretly inside the real cover. So the comic will have a cover like all the rest of the comics, but if you peel the first cover back, and by peel we mean open, then there will be a special variant cover hidden inside the real cover. And that idea sucked because, basically, I think the idea, somebody had watched Charlie and the Chocolate Factory and they're like, hey, let's hide a golden ticket cover inside the real cover. And they tried this approach. And then the retailers, before they put the comic on the shelves, just looked inside all the comics like, okay, well, here's the golden copy one. And we'll put that in a bag and charge more for it. So that idea sucked. That idea did not. Again, this is people not thinking through what actually would happen in the stores. So, by the way, you guys may think I'm joking about this, but what I've just described is not a joke. That was actually a variant cover idea that old Marvel tried, and it was not successful. And it was not successful. Well, I don't know about famously, but the editor copped to that. Hey, they thought that this would be a cool thing for fans to do, and were really quite upset at the LCS for opening up the comics and seeing where the variant cover was. They're like, we thought the retailer would just use the honor system and not look. Like, yeah, okay, well that's it was good shooting there, Tex. So then the current variant scheme, which is you can't decide whether it's insidious or not. So this is kind of a cousin of the last idea, where they are building up to absolute carnage. So we're going to have some comics coming out, and then sorry, just big yawn there. Not related to what I'm talking about, although maybe a little bit. The logo had blood splattered on it, and they were going to ship some comics. Let's say 50. You order 50, you get 50 comics in. Then some percentage of those 50 have the blood splatter on the logo. Now, you didn't order them as a retailer. You didn't know what you're going to get. It was a surprise variant. It's like LOL surprise. And inside those comics would come with an extra page of comic that was kind of a lead-in, tie-in, kind of little teaser for Absolute Carnage. And this is kind of like this was an idea from before. It wasn't variant cover, but it was the Where's Wolverine. Kind of like picture Where's Waldo, but there'd be a comic, and then when Logan returned from the dead, he was kind of walking around and visiting all the comics, and it's like he would keep missing people. It was like the saddest, and man, Marvel got all hyped about it. It's like an in credit scene in the movie. It was nothing at all like an in credit scene. It actually, you know what? I take that back. It was like the in credit scene in Ant-Man 2, where the ant is playing the drums alone, and that you waited all the way to the end of the movie, and you sat through the entire cast and the special effects crew, and then the soundtrack, and then where it was filmed, and then finally you're like, okay, now I'm getting to that, rubbing your hands to you. I'm getting to that in credit scene, and the in credit scene was the ant playing the drums for 10 seconds, which was also in the trailer for the movie. So you felt like doubly kind of screwed there. You're like, oh, thanks. I just sat in the theater to watch an end credit scene that was a outtake from the trailer. That's way to go, Marvel. Anyway, that was the movie, and that's what the Where's Wolverine scenes were like. It was like Wolverine's like showing up in a bar, and Captain America just been there minutes before, but he's like, well, looks like I missed Steve. Well, I guess I'll keep walking around for no apparent goddamn reason. Anyway, so that was last year, and this year we've got the little absolute carnage. And the part that's kind of goofy about it is like the comic store is just getting these variants. So there's not been. I mean, maybe there's some math to it, and I'm just too stupid to figure it out. That could be, but could very very well be. But it just seems to be kind of random the number. Now it's not like 1 in 100. There's more. Thankfully, there's it's a bit about not half, maybe about 40%, kind of what I'm seeing. Maybe a little less. And the problem with this variant is, even though thankfully I don't have to pre-order a bunch of comics that aren't going to sell to get it, but the downside is the collector comes in and like, would you like the comic with one less page of content, or the comic with an extra page of content? And your pull box customers like, hey, yeah, we all want the comic with the extra page of content. So you're not going to have enough to give everybody who's a pull box customer. Maybe you will, but chances are you won't. So now you got to, this is where I think the publishers do secretly hate the local comic shop, because they're always putting us in situations where we get screwed, where we're gonna have to have a really unpleasant conversation with our customers. And it's like, so I'm a loyal pull box customer. I've got I've been buying comics out of this store for the last 5 years. Why don't I get the special copy? And then you're having a conversation like, well, but you don't spend as much as, Bob over here, and Bob spends a little bit more than you. So, I gave him the variant cover, but not you. And he's like, well, can't you just, Bob hasn't come in yet. So fish the old comic out of Bob's box. He won't know what he doesn't miss, he won't miss what he didn't get. So just kind of do the old switcheroo. And it's like, buddy, this is not Raiders of the Lost Ark. I cannot take a bag of sand and switch it for the, gold head and give you the comic you want. Anyway, so that's a kind of a look through kind of some of the more insidious, goofy variant covers. I hate variant covers. I know a lot of customers like them. A lot of people love them. I get it, but they suck. They're a pain in the butt to deal with from an ordering perspective. They are annoying to deal with. You're always, when you mark them up, you're not sure how much am I supposed to mark these up. They cause havoc with your long-term kind of pull box customers. There's nothing good. There's nothing good about them. I mean, it's like, look, we get to see, a different artist kind of do a take on, look, here's Black Widow dressed up like a cat. Isn't that cool? It's like, no, not really. It's not really cool. It's just annoying. It's annoying for all of us. So please, just let's just make comics. Can you get the making the comic part down really, really good? And then we can revisit this whole variant cover thing. We'll come back to the table. We're going to leave the table here. You're going to make good comics. Then you come back to the table another time, and we'll talk. It's like, hey, we're going to all be so rich and happy that we're going to be like, yeah, let's bring that variant cover discussion back on the table again, because business is so amazing. We got people just falling out of the store. That's no, in a good way, not like they were murdered way, but just in a happy way. They're falling out of the store. I don't know. It's late in the day. What can I say? Variant covers always they just depress me. I just don't like. I don't like talking about them. I don't like thinking about them. They're annoying. But hey, what do you think? Do you love variant covers? Are you a big fan? Let me know in the comments below. No shame if you do. I mean, in theory, they are based. They're made for customers. So I hope the customers like them. I just the noise to value ratio is not in alignment, as they say. It's out of alignment. Anyway, follow me on Twitter, Comic Perch. Like, subscribe, notify. See, I didn't do my normal routine, so I got all clumsy there for a minute. Thank you for listening.